Now we're at the home of Dr. Loren Pickart. In 1973, Dr. Loren Pickart discovered GHK copper peptide, the first and the most popular peptide widely used in healthcare and skincare. After that, he established a company called Procyte, and later he successfully took it to NASDAQ. Currently in the USA, over 1,000 peptides have been registered. As a leading peptide manufacturer, we are very happy and we are very honored to be here and introduce Dr. Loren Pickart to people interested in copper peptides. Dr. Pickart, nice to see you again.
Okay.
And thank you for having us.
Sure.
So let's begin. We all know you discovered GHK copper peptide. Thanks to your finding, copper peptide is bringing health and beauty to hundreds of thousands of people. Could you share your story of how you discovered copper peptide?
This was very complicated. I was at the University of Minnesota, and I was studying heart disease at this point. And I was looking at the blood of people that had a heart attack versus people the same age didn't, okay? Or especially young people. And I found something was different, that the young people had more of a certain protein. And it took about 8 years to work through this. And I realized that there was a little protein in what's called albumin, a protein in the body. But a very small part of that was something else. And that is where the GHK came from. This took about 10 years to get through this point. And then finally, I had left the University of Minnesota and gone to San Francisco and working on my PhD in biochemistry. And I was able to isolate the factor from the blood. And I would get blood of medical students, and then I'd get blood of 60-year-old medical professors. And I would compare it, and the young students had a much higher level of this protein, or it was actually a peptide. I didn't know what it was. And with age, this was declining. And so then I isolated it, and I didn't expect all the effects it came up to have over years. But it surprises me. And the way I isolated, I think, was, a lot of work and a lot of luck. You can't underestimate luck in research, okay?
You discovered GHK copper peptide and later become the most famous scientist in copper peptide research. Could you introduce the most important findings after its discovery, especially these breakthroughs, mostly surprise you?
What I think the most significant is the anti-cancer effects. And we just published a paper this year on that, GHK and anti-cancer effects. And Google even sent me a thank you.
That's nice.
The nerve effects that's actually being used by physicians. See, a physician in the United States can use any therapy he wants. The FDA cannot stop them. It's written into the law. And like the woman that came in with the neck problem, she came into our office, and she's in bed and everything else. And the amount of GHK that her physician had her husband put in the swollen area of her neck, 21 days of injection, the nerve damage vanished, and it never reoccurred. Now, there's no drug around like that. And like the anti-cancer stuff is probably very, very strong. It just really surprises me. There are people, research groups, they're finding anti-cancers in animals at about 2 nanograms per milliliter. It's just like next to nothing. It's having these effects. Okay, the most important to me, for many, many years, I had cancer grants from NIH, and I'd worked on cancer, and cancer was really big in my family, and it's what really pushed me into medical research. That was a book I put together. The new book probably should be out in about 2 months, and it's called GHK and DNA, reducing the diseases of human aging, okay? And what has happened after the Broad Institute came out with all this data on GHK, they gave me, from the Broad Institute, over 22,000 separate experiments, 22,000, and effects of GHK on different genes and everything. Now there's only about 13,000 active genes, so everything was done about twice. Why work on animals or something else? We can actually look at the human system and see what it's going to do. And out of that, probably the strongest thing that comes out is the anti-cancer effects when you look at all these genes. And what's so good about human data, you're not digging through some exotic animal. Really, it changed a lot of research areas. At this point,